British planes were used to fly in and strafe the Moneda Palace. British arms killed the revolution and killed the government of Chile.
Neoliberalism essentially is a hustle. It's a hustle that pretends to be a philosophy. After the coup, Chile was a laboratory for that.
The laboratory of the destruction of the welfare state in so many places around the world.
Neoliberalism essentially is like that pillow that gets put on a person's face, on society's face. After a point, you can't breathe.
Kissinger, the CIA, the US government, the British government, they knew what was going on. They knew the brutality. They knew the torture.
I was brought in here, sat in a chair with people surrounding me. I was blindfolded. They had equipment to apply electricity. I don't know, I can't describe them. I never felt that type of pain again. You just cannot imagine that a human being can do that to another human being on purpose, consciously.
They used beatings and they used hanging, but later on they used techniques of torture that the CIA had trained the military on.
This woman not only was a torturer, but she also trained dogs to sexually attack women.
2 days after the coup, I was arrested and shot while being arrested. And I survived just miraculously because the bullet passed near my thorax, entered my left arm and exit to the left arm. I was shot without any provocation, and yet I was charged of attacking the military forces. And I was detained in the National Stadium for a month. People were being tortured there, and many people who were even less active than me were shot and killed. After they're being killed, they were put on a sack, taken by helicopter and thrown to the Pacific Ocean.
Those names, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of names of young people, full of determination and hope of the kind of society they could create.
Throughout my life, I have felt a huge responsibility of doing whatever I can to keep their memories alive and to make sure they're never forgotten.
When I first arrived in Chile in 1969, it didn't take long to pick up the ferment of the political atmosphere. Because I'd just come from Argentina, which was a military dictatorship. I'd come from Paraguay, which was a military dictatorship. Brazil, which was a military dictatorship. When I came to Chile, it was very different. Socialist Party symbols all over Santiago, marches, demonstrations, meetings, demands, hope, expectation. It was so different to all the other places, and that was infectious. And I was infected by it.
It was a very nice time to be a student. We were really building a new world, a society that was going to be better for everybody. Allende was there because I felt that all the measures that he was taking were really favoring, benefiting the people of my class, the poorest of the country.
When Allende was elected in 1970, I was 15 years old. My parents were actors and socialists. There was a huge popular movement of support for Allende.
In Britain, we were just ecstatic. Somebody who stood for election as a socialist, would spend his life fighting for human rights and social justice, had become the president of Chile. All the changes they started to bring in, the public ownership, the building of houses, improvement of education, feeding of children, real rights for indigenous communities, rights for women, and so much hope was in that government and the changes they brought in. Then the pressure of the lies and the disinformation against Salvador Allende.
No tengo otra alternativa. Solo acribillándome a balazos podrán impedirme voluntad que hacer cumplir el programa del pueblo.
When the Socialist Party of Salvador Allende began to make moves towards taking control of the government, there was a real fear in Washington, D.C., and of course in the head offices of largely US-based multinational corporations that the copper would be nationalized. And if anybody who lives in the modern world doesn't understand the power of copper, well, you need to go and look at your phone, you need to understand how your computer